Okay, so welcome to Kodel Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org, and today, Mitzvah Hashem, we'll have a hachana for the Chag Shavuot, Baruch Hashem, from our beautiful sefer.
Recording in progress.
From the beautiful sefer Kav Hayasher, and it's such a beautiful idea to put us into the right mind frame, what the Yom Tov is all about, and how you tie this Yom Tov together with Pesach, and how they're so intricately tied together. So let's see. He has a little hakdama to it. So he tells you here first. He says Yevoya. By what are we going to discuss in this lesson? In Yemem Tes Yemei Svira Saimer, right? The 49 days of Svira. Kidei L'Tayil V'Lotzeis B'Mem Tes Sharei Tuma Shay Yisrael Mushukoyim B'Mitzrayim L'Ikanes B'Mem Tes Sharei Kedusha. Right. So again, like we learned the concept so many times, Svira is we shed off one level of impurity, and we clothe ourselves with one level of purity. We switch off, and that's what we're doing every day. We're getting ready. We're getting rid of the Mem Tes Sharei Tuma, and we're getting ready for the 49 gates of Kedusha. So he says now, Soid Chag HaShavuot Sheboi Nitne Torah Seinu HaKedosha. Right? What's the secret of Shavuot that on this Yom Tov specifically, on this Yom Tov the Torah was given to us? Zoch Yisrael Likodes B'Shara Chamishim Shel HaKedusha. We know that Shavuot is the Shara Chamishim. It's the 50th gate, right? We know that the Sfira is 49 days, right? 49 days, and the 50th day is the day of the chasna, right? In many shuls they have a minhag, they put up a chuppah right over the bima, right? Did they do that in Yosher, Rabbi Yehuda?
I don't think so.
No, if you go to the Shtibel, Rabbi Spiegel is doing that for, oh my goodness, I can't remember how many years. Yeah, and it's some of the young Israels, they even do that. I've seen it in the young Israels also. It depends. Everyone has their own different minhagim. Again, to feel the idea that the idea of Kabbalah Satorah is really like a chasna. It's where Klal Yisrael prepared ourselves to come to have that chasna with the Rebbeinu Shalom to take the Torah. It's a beautiful idea. If you have a chance, you can go by to the Shtibel. You'll see. If you go by tomorrow, they'll have the chuppah set up already. It's so beautiful just to see the concept, just to see it. Just to see it, to experience it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Anyway, so okay. Inyan minchas ha'omer shehikrivu Yisrael b'tzeisa miMitzrayim. And what was the idea of bringing the omer, the carbon ha'omer, when we went out of Mitzrayim? Right, we brought the carbon ha'omer. The omer was the barley offering, right, that we brought, and that was waved. Right, they had the omer tenufa, right? It was waved and all of that, right? The tam she'ein b'chagazeh shivas yamim k'may b'shar regol. Right, you ever wonder, right? All the other yamim time, right? You take Pesach and you take Sukkot is 7 days. So hey, how come? What happened when it came to Shavuot? How come Shavuot only gets 1 day? Okay, in Chutz La'aretz you have 2 days, but in Eretz Yisrael it's a 1 day holiday. Right, and now we're going to have a problem actually with the parshas again. This, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Right, because we're going to read Parshas Nosai and Eretz HaKodesh. We're going to read Parshas Nosai on Shabbos, and you're going to be reading the Kriyas Torah for Yom Sheni of the Yom Tov. And then that's going to go till when? That goes till about through Sefer Bamidbar, I think. I think it's going to go through the Sefer. Unbelievable. Whatever, that's how it goes. Okay, anyway. Chiyav Amiras Hatikun B'Shnei HaLeiloi Shel Chag HaShavuot. This is interesting, right? In other words, we know that in Chutz La'aretz, right, so everyone stays up the first night. They stay up the first night of Shavuot. But most people don't have the minhag to stay up the second night, right? In most of the shuls, you won't see any learning programs or anything like that for the second night. You'll see it for the first night. And then we'll learn also about what the idea is to say the Tikkun Leil Shavuos, which is an amazing compilation of Torah that we're going to discuss right now. So let's see. So now he starts off now. That was the introduction, and that's the topics that we're going to be discussing. So he says, Me'ahavas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael Tziva Lispar Tisha V'Arboim Yoim Mimachas HaPesach Ad Chag HaShavuos. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu has such a ahava for Klal Yisrael, such a love for Klal Yisrael, He has us count the 49 days, right? He has us count the 49 days. So we said that the Arizal brings that Sfira is broken into two parts. You have Til Lag Ba'omer, which is 32 days, which is Leiv, and then you have the next 17 days, which is the Gematria of Toiv. So the whole idea of the Sfira Saim is to bring us to a Leiv Toiv. Beautiful concept, beautiful idea to understand. Okay, so now he says, Shehu Yoim Matan Torah. Oh, welcome, Rabbi Ernie. Oh, wow, welcome. No, that's okay. That's all right. I'm glad you. No, that's okay.
I was having trouble getting in.
All right. Oh, you're here now. All right. Okay. All right, we're middle. We're middle. So we're learning about Shavuot now. Okay, we're getting ready. We're doing our Hakana for the Chag. Shu Yoy Matan Torah. Right. So Chag Shavuot is the day that we got the Torah. Right. It's a special day. Shu Yoy Machamishim. That's the 50th day. Right, we count the 49 days of the Sfira, right? Day 50 is Shavuos, right? That's day Shavuos. It's Yom HaChamishim, it's the 50th day. Vatam hu mevaya, and the tam is brought down, he brings it from the Zayah. Ki kishay Yisrael begolas Mitzrayim, when we were stuck in exile and we were enslaved in Egypt. Shenishtaku b'klipa b'mem tes sharei tumah. So we initially were stuck in the klipa, we were stuck in the husks of impurity to the 49th level of impurity when we were in Mitzrayim. V'yamalei haya Yisrael sham oid yoim echad achar chamisha asa benisim. And if we would have just remained there for one more day, like we say in the Haggadah, Harei anu uveneinu uvenevenu mishubadim hayinu leparei. Right, like we say in the Haggadah, right? If HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't take us out, we, our children, our grandchildren, and all the children, all the generations, we would be stuck in Mitzrayim. Unbelievable. Right? We say that we say that in the Haggadah. Right?
We'd be suspecting Mitzrayim forever, supposedly.
Amazing. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so good to us because we would have gone to that place of despair. We would have gone into that place of despair where we would never have been able to come out. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out. He took us out specifically at that time. Mamish at that time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu berachamav, uberoiv chasad, HaKadosh Baruch Hu with His great mercy and His compassion and His kindness, Haitzianu lecheres, He brought us to freedom. He brought us mamish to freedom. V'nosan lanu es ha-Torah, He gave us His holy Torah, achar mispar chamishim yom, after we count the 50 days. So again, like we learned, that each time we it's not that just we're remembering that the Torah was given on the 6th day of Sivan. It's not that we just remember that. No, it's more than that. The Torah is mamish given to us again. We get the Torah again. It's a new chasna, we're taking on the Torah again. We're accepting the Torah for new. We counted 49 days, except we don't count the 50th day, but it is the 50th day, right? Midarga ledarga, we go madrega, midarga ledarga, madrega, right? B'mem teshare kedusha, we go up to the 49th level of holiness. So each day we remove one level of impurity and we build on another level of purity. Shehem shari bina, these are the gates of bina. Okay, we have chachma and bina, right? And chachma, bina, das, chabad. Chachma, Bina, Das, and these are the gates of Bina. Okay, fine. V'lachein tziva HaKadosh Baruch Hu lispa lanu shiva shavuos. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us, He gave us the commandment to count 7 weeks. 7 weeks. Kidein isha nida. The same way when you have a lady that she goes through her cycle, she has to count 7 clean days, right? Lady has to count 7 clean days, and then she can go to the mikveh, right? Oh, how are you doing, Shimon? No, welcome. Kidein Ishanida Shesayferes Shiva Yemei Nikiyim Linidasa. Right? She counts the 7 clean days from her impurity. And afterwards she can go to the mikveh, and then she can resume being back with her husband again. Right? That's the process. Every week, every month, the lady goes through the process, and then she goes back and she's able to be with her husband. So too were we when we were in the Egypt. When we were in the desert. Shahaya lahem din tumas hanida miklipas mitzrayim. We had the same din, the same impurity, the same way. We have we have the harchokes, right? We have those things that we stay away. We stay away from the lady when she's impure, right? We have to stay away from her, right? We can't have we don't have contact with the lady because of the impurity, right? The Gemara discusses you can't sit on the same place she sat, and whatever. We don't have all the same archokes like that, like the Gemara discussed, because we don't have the tumah like then. But that's another thing. The tumah of the zav and all of that stuff. We don't the zav. We don't have that today. But we do count today the extra days. In just with chayshish, maybe there was but really minat Torah it's only 7 days. Okay. And therefore we had to count 7 complete weeks. So the lady counts 7 complete days, but we had to count 7 complete weeks. So far, so good. We understand what's going on here, right? Okay, let's get the next page. Here we go. All right. And it goes on to say now, let's make it bigger. There we go. Isa b'medrash Rabbah, kol makim shenema tomim oitemimais. Anytime you see, the Medrash Rabbah says, he quotes from the Medrash Rabbah in Bereshis Rabbah, that anytime he's telling us a klal here, anytime you see, if the Torah says tamim, complete, or tamimais, right? You see these words, hishlim, you have to complete it, lemidas shavuos shiva. It's going on, you have to complete 7 weeks. Lemidas shavuos shiva. 7 weeks. That's 49 days. So here we learned something new from the Bereshis Rabbah today. The Medrash, it's beautiful to see that, right? Anytime you see Tamimais, it's 49. 7 complete weeks. Ushleishis Yomim Kaidem Matan Torah, Mitzvahs Hagbala, right? So we had a special mitzvah in the Torah that 3 days before Kabbalah Torah, the Torah says Al Tikshu Isha, right? We couldn't be the Jewish people couldn't be with their wives for 3 days, and that's the Shleishis Yemei Hagbala, right? I don't know. A lot of people have the minig in the shuls during the Shleishis Yemei Hagbala. They don't say the Tachnan. Is that what you guys did? Did you do that, Rabbi Yehuda? You said Tachnan today, or didn't say Tachnan?
We haven't said Tachton since Rose Code is Sivan. I mean, starting with the month of Sivan, we haven't said Tachton.
Okay. A lot of people do say Tachnan, and they stop by the Shleishis Yemei Hagbala. Rabbi Yehuda, what do you do in your shul?
But I got to say, and also we stop at Rose Code is Sivan.
And Rabbi Yehuda, what did you do?
Tachton all the way through, I guess.
No, I'm just curious.
Okay. Same with you. Huh? Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay. Because we were working on purifying ourselves. The same way a woman goes through the process, right? She has to take a bath, cut the nails, and all the things she has to do in order to get ready to be able to go to the mikveh to be pure. That's what we have to do. Now we know that the mikveh of Shavuot is the highest of the year, because it's the Shar Chamishim. So if you have the opportunity to be able to go to the mikveh before you daven on Shavuot morning, so then your mom is accomplishing what we did before Kabbalah Torah at Har Sinai. Okay, if that's a possibility, if you could do that, that's Matoy v'Manoyim. Okay, and on the 50th day, Zoch Yisrael Likones b'Shara Chamishim Shel Shari Bina. Again, we came on the 50th, after we counted the 49 days and the 3 days which was included in the 49, right? And we came to the 50th day. We came to the 50th gate of Bina. V'shar chamishim nikra eitz hachayim asher b'soich hagad. Right? We know that the Torah states that there was an eitz hachayim, right? There was the eitz hadas toivara, right? Right? The eitz hadas toivara. Hashem said, don't get involved in the eitz hadas toivara, right? But unfortunately, Adam and Chava, they made a mistake, right? Okay, and then Hashem said He didn't want them to be able to deal with the Eitz HaChaim, because if they ate from the Eitz HaChaim, so then they would have life, right? They would have the life. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent them out of Gan Eden, so they shouldn't eat from that tree, because again, they brought death into the world. Okay, so the Eitz HaChaim, Hashem b'soich hagan. Va'af ki yesh nei.
Had they not said they would have lived forever?
Yes.
And they had to have lived forever, right? Right, yeah, right.
There was no death. Right.
There was no death, they would have lived forever, right?
Unbelievable. Again, we don't know, but that's what they that's what they tell us. So, but okay.
Yeah.
That's what they tell. Okay, either way. Okay, now, if the af kiyesh shnei deyas, plukta Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, he brings it down in Yud Aleph, Amid Aleph, right? There's a machlekes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. It's a very famous machlekes. Ibe Nisan Nivra Ilam, Ibe Tishrei Nivra Ilam. Which one was it? Was the world created in the month of Nisan, or was the world created in the month of Sivan? When Tishrei? When was the world created? And Obein Lamar, Svirale, the Vipoyel Benisa Nivra Olam. So either way, they both agree that in Nisan actually the world came about. But the argument is, when did the idea of the world come about? When did HaKadosh Baruch Hu come up with this Havamina? Did he come up with this idea to create the world? So that was possibly in the time of Tishrei, but the world was actually then created in Nisan. Everyone agrees to that. Umaschilin anu limnais hachadoshim min rosh chodesh Nisan. And we start counting. We count and we know that chodesh and Nisan is a rosh chodesh zei lachem rosh chodashim. Right? We know that the Torah says Nisan is the first month. Right? And we count all the months going from Nisan. Right? We all agree. Right? Nisan is the first month, and we count ahead. Right? Okay, so that's the first month. Okay,
so why do we celebrate Rosh Chodesh on the first of Tishrei? I mean, Rosh Hashanah. Why do we celebrate Rosh Hashanah on the first of Tishrei?
Okay, because again, Rosh Hashanah was, we say Hayom Haras Olam. We say on Rosh Hashanah, we say Hayom Haras Olam, Hayom Yamid B'Mid Kol Yitzur. Right? We said so. That's the day that really came to them. It was the thought, so to say, of the Rebbeinu Shalom to create the world. It's the world's birthday. Hayom Haras Olam is the world's birthday. Because again, do you count the birthday when it was actually created, or when it came the ability for the thing? So that's the machlokes. Okay? But
so we observe Rosh Hashanah because the thought came about the first of Tishrei
to create the world, to create the world, right? Right. That was HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Havamina, so to say, to create the world. He came up with that idea on Tishrei, okay?
And that's why we cite Rosh Hashanah on the first of Tishrei.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
Okay, who roish lachadoshim, like he brings down, like we mentioned a moment ago. Nisan is roish lachadoshim. It's the first. It's the head of the months. It's the main. It's the first of the months. It's the roish lachadoshim. V'im kain. So if that's the case, Pesach hu Chag HaRishon, and we know that Pesach is the first of the 3 holidays, right? Pesach is the first of the 3 holidays, of the series of the holidays. He's the first one. The Chag HaShavuos hu Chag HaEmsoi. Chag HaShavuos is the one right in the middle, right? The Chag HaSukkos is hu Chag HaAchron, and that's the end one. So we have Shavuos is, so to say, like you have the cream in the middle of the 2 cookies, right? right? Like an Oreo, right? An Oreo has 2 cookies and you have the cream in the middle, right? Like we're going to discuss in a minute now. Why the other 2 holidays, Pesach, the first one, and Sukkot, the last one, they have 7 days, and Shavuot is only 1 day. What's going on here? Right? Unbelievable. We're going to see right now. So hold on. Oh, look at this. And therefore, he brings down from the Zohar Kodesh the Torah, the Yom Tov of Shavuos. When the Torah says, in the Torah mentions Eitz HaChayim B'Soich Hagan, what's it referring to? It's referring to the Emsa. It's B'Soich. It's the middle. B'Toch. The Toch is the middle. Right? The Toch is the middle. It's the middle of the thing. So that's what he means. Eitz HaChayim B'Soich Hagan Lefi Shuem Soy, because that's the middle. The Chag HaShavuos Hu Shivcha D'Oraisa. And the Yom Tov of Shavuos is the praise and the beauty of the Torah. Shivcha D'Koila, as of all the praise of everything. V'lechei nitna Torah b'hai yoyim adavka, and therefore the Torah was given specifically on that day. Kiven D'Oraisa Nikres Eitz HaChayim B'Soich Hagan. Because the Torah we know is called Eitz Chayim Hila Machzikim By. We say that in Davar, right? When we take out the Torah. Eitz Chayim Hila Machzikim By. Right? We say those beautiful words, right? The Torah is the beauty. The Torah is the Eitz Chayim. That's the tree of life. We learn Torah. Torah gives you life. Torah is life. That's the Torah is Eitz HaChayim B'Soich Hagan. Okay, so far so good?
Right.
All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, let's go to the next page. All right, they're going good today. Baruch Hashem. Okay, and therefore the Kav Hayasher is saying that the Alzeh Kosav Hazoya b'Parshas Emor v'Zel L'Shoinai b'Yoyim Abikurim b'Ikravchem Mincha Chadosha L'Hashem b'Shvuos Seichem Mikra Kodesh Yolachem. What does this mean? Rabbi Shimon Pasach. We say this on Friday night, right? We say this every Friday. Then the trees of the field of the forest will sing. Yiranenu Rina. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is coming to judge the world. Lama Darish Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Hamikra Hazeh Kan. Why does he talk about this pasuk? Why does he talk about this pasuk when it comes to Shavuos? What is this? Ela Nirali. The Shapir Dorish Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It's a very good shot. It works out very nice. Why? All Ziranu Kol Atzei Ayar. All the trees of the field of the forest will sing. The Chol Atzei Ayar Halavonon Nikshorim Be'etz HaChayim B'Soich Hagan. All of the trees of the whole forest, of the whole field, get their life force from the tree in the center, which is what the Eitz HaChayim Shebesoich Hagan, that's in the center. K'moishe Ketzavti Lel, like I wrote to you before. So we also know that every person. We know that every single Jew is considered ki adam hu eitz hasada. Right? The Torah writes in the Devarim, I'm just bringing that outside. Ki adam hu eitz hasada. We are like a tree in the field. The Torah compares us to a tree. Why does the Torah compare us to a tree? The question is how deep are our roots? Right? Do you remember when we had in New York the Hurricane Sandy? Remember that Hurricane Sandy? Right? Remember how many pine trees fell down all over the place? Do you remember that? Reb Shimon, do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember in Woodmere Park? I couldn't believe how many trees fell down. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, right? And all the streets in Cedar, all over the trees fell down. Unbelievable.
My backyard also.
In your backyard, right. Now, but there were only pine trees that fell down. There were no oak trees. And no, maple trees like that, cedar trees, they didn't fall down. Only these others. Now the question is, why did those trees fall down and not the other ones? It's very simple. The pine trees are top-rooted trees. They're top rooted. You can see the roots are actually on the top of the earth. See, when you walk over where there's pine trees, you walk around the tree, you can feel the roots. You stand on the roots. It's not flat, right? But when you walk around, let's say an apple tree or an oak tree or like we said, a cedar tree, a maple tree, those trees are deep rooted. They're deep rooted. They're deep rooted. Those trees didn't fall down. That's why we're compared. One of the reasons why we're compared to Adam Waitz Asada. If we are people that we are well rooted, and we are well rooted with our Messiah, and we're well rooted with our minhagim of our families, and what we keep them when they're very near and dear to us, we're very strong. So when the big winds of all the kfira of the world, all the heresy of the world, and all of that, we stand strong with our emunah. Ki Adam Waitz Asada, right? And how do we stay strong? How do we stay strong? Through the Eitz HaChayim Shebesoich Hagan. If we connect to the Torah, that gives our tree, keeps us strong. We have to be connected to the Torah. Such a beautiful concept, mamish, a beautiful concept to understand that really what's the connection, man with a tree, and how the Torah is also considered the Eitz Chayim Shebesoich Hagan. You like that idea? It makes sense? Good? Okay, very good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to show and demonstrate his love for Klal Yisrael. Neged kol ha'umais. He wanted to show how we are habacha banu mikol ha'amim. Right? We said that this morning. Right? We say the Birkas HaTorah. Hashem bacha banu mikol ha'amim. And also lonu es Torah. Right? Hashem chose us from all the other nations in the world. That's why they don't like us. Right? They don't like us because we are special. They say that we're privileged characters. We are. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us his Torah. Hashem bacha banu. He chose us. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. Mikol ha'umas, from all the other nations in the world. He loves us. V'echilanu es haman b'midbar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the manna. Right? He gave us that manna to eat in the midbar. K'may shamar ha'kosav, hineni mamti la'achem lechem min ha'shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought upon us, he brought down for the bread from heaven, and that was the man. V'tziva aisanu lahakriv sa'orim lekarben chag hashvuos. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to bring the sa'orim b'chag hashvuos, zaka chelkei hain the Yisrael, the kutchabrichu hu bodik lahain the carbon sa'orim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves when we bring the carbon. We brought the shtei alechem also on Shavuos, right? We brought the shtei alechem, right? And we brought the bikurim on Shavuos, right? We brought the first fruits to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows us his love, so we want to show our love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, now kedein soita sheivia karbona machal behema. So too the Saita, the lady that was suspected, right? That she went into seclusion. She went into seclusion with a certain fellow she was warned, don't go into seclusion, right? We just finished learning Masechta Saita, right, in the Daf Yomi. Anyone that's involved in the Daf Yomi, right? So if a lady was told by her husband, listen, I don't want you. You're not allowed to be with this such and such a gentleman, right? You can't be with Pliny. You can't be with so and so. And then the witnesses find that she was with him. So then they would take her to the Beis Hamikdash, and she would have to drink the Mei Saita, right? That was a certain concoctions that they made, and they put the shame of HaKadosh Baruch Hu into this concoction, right? And she had to drink that. This is what the Torah says, right? So when she had to bring a car when she brought her carbon. When the Saita brought her carbon, she had to bring her carbon from a machal behema. Kach tziva HaKadosh Baruch Hu lahavi carbon sarim. So too HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us to bring the carbon sarim, to bring from the barley. Right? The sarim is barley, right? I think that's what you call barley in English, right? Kidain Saita shevia carbon the machal behema kach tziva HaKadosh Baruch Hu lahavi carbon sarim. Aval hai shata akidmu Yisrael Nasel and Ishma. But at this time, Klal Yisrael said the famous words, Nase v'nishma, right? We'll do, and as we hear, we'll do, but we said we're going to do first. Nase v'nishma, right? We put the Nase before the Nishma. V'yishkacheyu lekulan zakin kama da'at eimar kulach yofer rayasi umum ein boch. Beautiful words of Shira Shirim. Kulach yofer rayasi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that you're most beautiful to me. You're beautiful. Umum ein boch. You don't have any blemish. You don't have any blemish. Umum ein boch. And it says over there from Mishlei, like we say Friday night, and we know that the Eishes Chayil, she is like the crown of her husband, right? Right? It's like a kinyan. I think that's the word that he's trying to say over here, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, is a kedushin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking us on as the kala. He's taking us on because we're saying that the Eishes Chayil means Eishes Chayil is that Teres Bala. She's the crown for the husband. L'chein nikreis mincha chadasha v'chidusha shenasi Yisrael b'raya chadasha bria chadasha b'yoy matan Torah. We know that we came to be as new people on Matan Torah, right? The Torah tells us, we know that Chazal tell us that when it came to Matan Torah, anyone that had any kind of an ailment, right? If anyone Chas v'shalom was missing a limb, they got their limb back. If anyone had they had one of their senses, they couldn't see, smell, hear, they couldn't speak, they were deaf and mute, or whatever the case was, everyone was healed. Everyone was healed. Like we said, umum ein bach. There was no mum. Everyone was healed. Unbelievable. And they say, I've heard this over by tzaddikim, they say that when it comes to Kriyas HaTorah, listen to these words, this is amazing. When it comes to Kriyas HaTorah, if you try to feel when you're listening to the Torah, this is the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying over to you, like you're standing on Har Sinai. If someone has any kind of an ailment, they can find the refuah in that ailment. They can find the refuah because, again, the same way when we were by Matan Torah, everyone was healed. So too, if we reenact Matan Torah, anytime we reenact Matan Torah, we can get that same medicinal benefits of Matan Torah again. How do you like that? That's amazing. That's amazing. It's an amazing idea. It's an amazing idea that we can mamish tap into at any time we want. Shenasi Yisrael Bria Chadasha B'Yoy Matan Torah. We were new people. Ki'isha Saita Hi Tahira. The same way we know that the Saita, right? We know that the Saita, if she drank that water, right, like we mentioned, if she drank the water and nothing happened to her, right? The Torah says that her belly will explode, right? That's what the Torah says, right? If she was guilty. Right, a belly will explode. Whatever's going to happen, I'm sure it wasn't a nice sight. Okay, it was not a nice sight. But if she was pure and she didn't do anything wrong, she didn't violate, she didn't have any relation, she didn't do, she was this. So then she's pure. He niksa v'nizra zara. Let me see your next line here. Next one here. Hold on. Hope we're going to finish this. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, Tahira, she then will be able to be blessed with children, and she's pure. What?
With children, right?
Right. He kach.
Child, it's like the next year.
Yeah. He kach hayu Yisrael. So too we, Klal Yisrael, Tahira Nacha Maise HaKorban Shel Chag HaShavuos. The same way she brought her korban from the animal food or whatever it was, like we said, the barley. So to us, when we brought the korban sa'irim, when we brought that, we were also purified. HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepted us the same way the saita, and then we become pure again. Such a nice concept. V'lechei Chag HaShavuos Yom Echad. And therefore, Chag HaShavuos is only one day. We ask, why is Chag HaShavuos? We know it's the holiday in the middle, right? We know it's the holiday in the middle, right? You know, I like to use the example of the Oreo cookie, right? All the kids like that cookie, right? right? The kids love that, right? The cream is in the middle, right? So you have Pesach on one side. You have and it was a non-gebrucht cookie. It was made with potato. So don't worry, so no problem. Okay, they make those Oreos for Pesach also. So don't worry, right? It was one of these shahakal cookies. Okay, so one side is Pesach. The other, and you have in the middle, you have the cream, which is Shavuot, and the other cookie that's on the other side, that's Sukkot. So the cookie is nice and thick because it's 7 days, and the cream is a little thinner. That's the Shavuot. So it's one day. So why is it one day? L'ramei shakadosh baruch hu echad. To show that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one. How do you like that? Isn't that beautiful? Shavuot is one day to show that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one. V'Yisrael, look at these words. Heim goy echad baretz. What do we say on Shabbos Mincha? Shabbos Mincha, we say these words. Heim goy echad baretz. We're one nation in the world. We are the number one, only the most important nation Hashabacha Banu Mikol Ha'amim in the whole world. L'ramesh Yisrael Tuluyim B'Achdusai. We are to hint to us that we are tali. It's all we are dependent on our achdus. We have to be miyachid. We have to have achdus by ourselves. We learned from the holy Kedushas Levi that when it comes to Kabbalas HaTorah, right, we have to make sure we forgive everybody for anything. Right? You're supposed to have in mind that anyone did something wrong to you, you forgive the person. Why? Because you don't want any person to have any problems. Why? Because every person is a letter in the Torah. We know that every Jew is connected to a letter in the Torah. And if you have a problem with a Jew in the Torah, so then your Torah is not going to be complete. So you have to always make sure to try to forgive everybody this and before, because it's all dependent on the achdusai, on the oneness. L'ramez al eitz hachayim d'miyached lekulu ilyonei d'gan eden lekashra b'yehuda shalim, because the whole idea of the eitz hachayim, that we said the Eitz HaChaim is the center in the garden, and that is the tree that gives to each one of the trees in the garden. It gives it what it needs. Lekashra b'yehuda shalim, to be connected as one. The Eitz HaChaim, the Torah, binds everyone together. Eitz HaChaim is the source of life. The tree of life, which is the Torah, can bring everybody back together. Unbelievable. Now he brings down the words of the Zohar. He says, "Usfatem lachem imachas Shabbos miyam v'yachem esoima tnufa." Right? The Sfatem lachem imachas Shabbos. You count from the mimachas Shabbos. What's that? That's Pesach, right? Mimachas Shabbos is Pesach. Remember, right? That's Pesach. He brought the Oimet Tenufa. That was the wave offering, like we said. Kishah Yisrael b'Mitzrayim, because when we were in Egypt, Haye b'Rishus Acheres, we were not in our own Rishus. We belonged to Paro. V'Hayu Achuzim b'Tumah. We were achas. We were clenching on to the Tumah of Mitzrayim. The same way the lady is in her, when the lady is in her menstruation period, she's connected to her tumah. So too we were. Nimlo Mitzrayim nichnasu b'chelek HaKadosh Baruch Hu bris uposka tumah mehem. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim, He took us into, and we became part of the Chelik of HaKadosh. We became Nichnasu b'Chelik HaKadosh and Nikra Bris. We came into that thing of called Bris Kodesh, Bris, Uposka Tumah, and the Tumah stopped. Behem, Kiishazu Sheposka Mimena Tumasa, the same way that the lady stops her Tumah, her cycle stops. La'acha Poska Mehem, after it stops from her, right? So it's said by us, we have to count. The same lashon as Sfartem Lachem is said by the lady. She has to count, we have to count. Why do we have to count? We have to count our impurity from going out of Egypt. The same way the lady every month has to count, we have to count. Makes sense? You like that idea? You make this heckish. It says mi poskim is from here to this one. You make that link. You link the two together. Usfartem Lachem, Usfartem Lachem. Okay? So to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us So too the HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us hopefully we're gonna have time to finish the piece. It's such a wonderful piece. The Zohar goes on saying, Hu Yisrael, Mikan ve'elech cheshbon l'tahara. That's the time to make the cheshbon, the calculation for our purity. Usfartem lachem daika. You have to count specifically for yourselves. Hainu la'atzmechem, to ourselves. Kidei sheyu elu hamem tes yomim temimos. That we should have the full, complete 49 days b'tahara, in purity, neged mem tes sha'arim shah Yisrael b'tumah. So we take this 49 against the other 49. We shed off all the impurity to take on the purity. We shed off the 49 levels of impurity and take on the 49 levels of purity. Yimamish, you could feel it. Unbelievable. Okay, so those are the words of the Zayir. Now he says, Al kein royu v'nachayin l'chol ish hayorei v'chored l'dvar Hashem. And therefore it's worthy for any Jew that fears HaKadosh Baruch Hu and fears the Rebbeinu Shalom and understands Shavisi Hashem l'negdi summit shall yilmod kol halayla. We should stay up and learn all night. Shel Chag HaShavuos, on the night of the holy night of Shavuos, Leil Shavuos, Kefi HaTikun shechibru Talmidei Arizal. They say with the using the Tikun Leil Shavuos that was given to us, that was put together, the compilation that was put together from the Talmidim of the Arizal, of the holy Ariyah Kodesh. V'yasku b'Torah v'Neviim u'Ksuvim. And in there you have, it's unbelievable if you take a look at it, Tikkun Leil Shavuos. I don't know any. Did you ever do that, Rabbi Yehuda? Do you say Tikkun Leil Shavuos? What? Do you have the minute to say Tikkun Leil Shavuos?
We have a minute to say just stay up all night to learn. We have that minute.
No, I understand, but you do right.
Stay up all night and learn.
No. But to say, but there's a special book, Tikkun Leil Shavuos, a special book to read and learn through that night, to read through it. And why is that? Because Yasku b'Torah v'Neviim u'Ksuvim. Because this way you can go through the Chamisha Kumshei Torah, you can go through all the Nevi'im and all the Kesuvim. What they do is they do a few psukim, 2 or 3 psukim from the beginning of every parsha, and then of every end of the 3 psukim or so forth of the end of the parsha. And they do that of each one through the Chamisha Kumshei Torah, the 5 books, and then they do through Nevi'im Kesuvim, right? And then he does Mishnayos. They do the same thing. They take the first Mishnah and the last Mishnah of each one of the Mishnayos, right? And you do that. Ukitzas Mamrei Azoya, and they take pieces from the Mamorim, from the Zohar Kadosh V'Yeshin Nayim Lasses Atikim B'Shnei Leilos Shal Shavuos. Listen to this. Wow, look at this, guys. Raise the bar here. There's some that say that the same way Shavuos in Chutz La'aretz is 2 days, right? It's 2 days. So they say that he's supposed to stay up. Hey, listen, it's fake of the Yomer, right? So really, you always do like on Pesach, right? Look at this. Wait a second. Hold on a second. On Pesach, when it comes to the second Seder, right? So you make all the brachas again. You say the Shechiyanu again, right? You do everything like you did the first night. You don't make any changes, right? Right? You eat the matzah, you do everything. You make the brachas. Everything's the same, right? When it comes to Sukkos, right? So again, the second night you make the Shechiyah, right? Because again, you don't know it was fake of the Yomer, right? Right? So okay, so now the question is, so why when it comes to Shavuos, okay, we'll stay up only one night? Really, it should follow suit, right? If we don't know, right? If we don't know, it should maybe it should follow suit. Who knows? But okay, either way, that's what the holy Kav Hayasher is bringing. V'sarusa de lasata hi ma'oire kedushas elyon leschabra yichud elyon. And whatever we do down here, whenever we have that awakening from down here, and we have that awakening that we're trying to connect back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we have that beautiful idea to be connecting to the Yichud Elyon, ba'oires b'shefa gadol, with the beautiful light and the shefa of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who doesn't want to be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? With this schus yashpia HaKadosh Baruch Hu Gam Kein Aleinu Or Chodesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bestow us with that Or Chodesh Al Tzion Torah, like we say every morning, right? Or Chodesh Al Tzion Torah V'niskech Hulanu Meheira Li'oira. Right? We say that we all should merit to have that new light. The new light, the Or Chodesh that we're waiting for so desperately. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give the Or Chodesh, and it should give it to every single Jew, wherever they are, whatever matzav they're in. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should shine the light into their hearts, and bring them all back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do that anytime. Or Chodesh Al Tzion Torah. Those are the words we say. You just said it a few hours ago, right, Ernie? You said Or Chodesh Al Tzion Torah, right? Or Chodesh, a new light, Al Tzion Torah. It should illuminate on Tzion. Who's Tzion? Klal Yisrael. Tzion is Klal Yisrael. Tzion Torah. Eretz Yisrael. Others say it's Eretz Yisrael. The Jews are Eretz Yisrael. But everyone will agree it's also Klal Yisrael. It's Klal Yisrael. Chodesh Al Tzion Torah. Klal Yisrael is called Tzion. And we should all be Zeichet to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Or, the Or Chodesh. Amen. The Rebbe says Amen, and we should all mamish be zeichet to this as Harusa de Lasata. We should have that awakening down here. And we know we learned the concept so many times. The Sarusa de Lasata brings upon us the Sarusa de Leila, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels so good when we show that we make an effort to be close to Him. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Oh, if my kindlech want to be close to me, how can I not be close to them?" Right? You have to reciprocate, right? Right? Like if someone does something nice for you, you want to reciprocate. You want to do something nice for them, right? So to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it follows the same thing. He keeps the Torah also, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when we do something down here, we show our closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come and show us His light. And with that, I wish everyone that we should have mamash a lechtige yom tif to feel the light and to recognize that the Torah is the eitz chayim hi lemachzikim by, right? The Torah is what's mechazik us. The Torah gives us our chizuk. The Torah is what will help us and bring us to the end of it. And that is, I'll tell you a quick ma'aseh if you want. Do we have 2 minutes? 2 minutes for story? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a gewaldige yid. His name was Igor. I don't remember his last name, but it's not important. There was a yid in Eretz Yisrael, and he was many years ago, and he was the yid that actually started the Egged Bus Company. He started the Egged Bus Company, and he was very successful, right? Until the government bought it out from him, right? He was the one that came up with this idea to make buses and to make routes. And all of this, and he was so successful, the government bought him out, and he made a lot of money, and he made other businesses, and he was very successful. There was a special yid, a Rosh Yeshiva. There was a Rosh Yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva and the holy Rosh Yeshiva came in contact with this Igor, right? Somehow they met, and Igor loved this Rosh Yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva loved him. And the Rosh Yeshiva needed at that time a new dormitory. He needed a new dormitory. Listen to this, he needed a new dormitory. So he said, of course, I'll pay for the dormitory. All right, wonderful. Wow, he built a dormitory. He made it much bigger than even the Rosh Yeshiva even wanted. He made it even bigger than the Rosh Yeshiva wanted. He put more beds and he filled it up. A couple of years later, the Rosh Yeshiva came to him and said to him, we need a new base medrash. We have all these bachrim here. We need a new base medrash. So he said, of course. How much will it cost? So he tells him about the base medrash. He builds him the base medrash, and then he tells him, we need a new dining hall. We have all these bachrim. They need to eat, right? So he builds them a beautiful dining hall also, everything. And then one year the Rosh Yeshiva invited Igor to come down for the Masibah on Purim. He invited Igor to come down for the Masibah on Purim. So what happened was he came. Of course, he was with the Bachrim. They loved Igor because look what he did for them for the yeshiva, right? All the Bachrim loved him. At the Masibah, he had a terrible stomach ache. Igor, he got a terrible stomach ache. And he had no idea. So the Rosh Yeshiva said, "Oh, maybe you drank a little too much wine. Maybe this and that. Maybe also you'll go home." So he was going home, and he couldn't, mamish, he couldn't go home, and they took him in an ambulance. They took him to the hospital. And they found, and they did tests on him, and they found he had a tremendous growth in his stomach, a tremendous growth in his stomach. And they told him, "Oi, Igor, it doesn't look good, and I don't know. You better make a cheshbon hanefesh because it doesn't look good now for you. So maybe you'll make a cheshbon hanefesh." And okay, he called the Rosh Yeshiva. And he said, "Rebbe, I don't understand this. What's going on? I came. Please come down to the hospital. Please come here." So the Rosh Yeshiva went over there, and the Rosh Yeshiva said to him, "What happened?" He told him, and he said, "Rebbe, I'm not even 40 years old. I didn't get to marry off any of my children yet. Nothing. And I gave so much. I love the yeshiva so much." And this, what should I do? So the Rebbe said, "Of course, we'll daven for you. We'll have all the bachrim in the yeshiva daven for you. We'll daven for you. Of course. We have such a hakaras hatay for what you did for us, right?" And then the story goes that the next morning, the Steipler guy was going to be a sandik at one of the brisim at the yeshiva. So the Rosh Yeshiva asked the Holy Steipler, he said to him, "No, can you please help out? There's a guy, Igor, he tells him about him. You see the beautiful buildings here. He took him for a walk. He showed him the beautiful dormitory, the beautiful base medrash. He showed him the beautiful dining hall and all of the buildings and everything he did for them." And he said he's in the hospital, he's laying there, and he has this big growth, and they told him he's not going to live. So the Steipler guy asked him, "Wait a second. You told me that he's machzik Torah? You said that he's a machzik Torah? He's one that's supporting Torah? He's supporting Torah?" She said, "Of course he's supporting Torah." She said, "If he's supporting Torah, he has tremendous schlusim. The Torah is tremendous schlusim for him. He has nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about." Listen to the story; it's fascinating. A couple of days later, they were taking Igor for some tests. They were taking him for some tests. He was very nervous. So he asked the Rosh Yeshiva to come, to take the scans or whatever they had to do. He asked the Rosh Yeshiva to come to be with him at the thing. He felt so scared. So of course the Rosh Yeshiva came to him, and they did the tests. And then they took him again to do more tests, and took him again to do more tests. And then they didn't hear anything. Hours later, they didn't hear anything. So the Rosh Yeshiva went to the doctors, and he said, "No, what's going on over here?" They said, "We're going to bring the pictures in. We're going to bring the pictures into the room. We'll bring the pictures into the room." Okay? So they put they have the X-ray, the pictures. They put it up on the board with the light. So he showed the picture of the first one that they did when they saw that big growth that was in the study. They saw that big growth. They showed that picture. And then what they did was they showed the next picture. They showed the next picture that they took today, that there's no growth. And they took another picture in a different angle, and another angle, and another angle, to make sure there was no growth. So what do you see from this? They said, he told them that, the Holy Steipler Goyin, the Holy Steipler Goyin said that you're going to be okay because you are machzik Torah. So you see over here that the Torah is Eitz Chayim Hila Machzikim by. We should all be zeicher to a lechte Yom and a good Shabbos and all B'Sayris Torahs, and have someone at my door. So kol tuv everybody, okay?